Hi guys. So I just watched a video about some bison, and I like bison. I think they're fun. They're not my favoriteest animal ever, but I definitely really like bison. Yes, I'm wearing the same shirt. I washed it. Don't judge me. I really like this shirt. It was one of my grandma's, so it's comfy. Anyway, but seeing the bison video made me remember some fun things from my childhood. Um when I was the week after I turned 9, we ended up moving from the city that I had was born in and had grown up in until that point, to a small town, like a really small town. Okay, like less than it was really small, really small. Okay, um, but anyway, the closest when we moved out there was a grocery store. And but that grocery store had to close down like 2 probably 3 years after we moved out there. I don't remember exactly what year it closed, but it had a lot of structural damage that the couple that owned and ran it couldn't fix. At least that's the story that I was told, and that's probably true. It was an older couple. Um but anyway, after they closed down, um that town went without a grocery store for many years. In fact, I think I was an adult when another grocery store opened up in that town. So, at least 15 years. Anyway, sorry for my air conditioner. It's going to turn on and off. I've got it on the eco setting. Anyway, but anyway, after that grocery store closed down, the closest grocery store after that was at least 20 miles away. At least. The closest Walmart was 45. Um, but anyway, we made frequent trips to the grocery store in the next town. Um, well, not just to go to that grocery store, but there were other reasons that we went to that town. They had rodeos and county fair and everything like that up in that town. There was a lake close by, stuff like that. Um, anyway, we'd go up there to go grocery shopping, and the way we went, one of the pastures out there, um, the guy that owned it also had he owned a herd of buffalo. And so we always knew, okay, we've made the second turn, time to start looking for the buffalo. Or we've made the first turn, haven't made the second turn, we need to start looking for the buffalo. And so me and my siblings, we'd always be looking for the buffalo. The buffalo herd, see if they were near the fence. Because sometimes they were, sometimes they weren't. But it was always fun looking for the buffalo. Um, I think it was just after it was right after we had moved out to that small town. Or was it the next summer? I think it was that same summer we moved out there because my birthday's pretty early in it's late spring, early summer for my birthday. So we were on we were starting summer vacation. And my mom and stepdad looked at me and they go, "Hey, where do you want to go for family vacation?" I was like, "I want to go to the Grand Canyon." Yeah, me at 9 years old, that's where I wanted to go. I wanted to go see the Grand Canyon. That was so cool. Okay. Like, I was, I'd already, at that point, I had already been to Disney World, which I found out a fun trick to remember which one's which. Anyway, which Disney park is which, because I, for the longest time, got them backwards. But now I know Disney World is the one in Florida. Anyway, but so I had already been to one of the Disney parks. I've actually been to both. But I wasn't real thrilled with Disney. That wasn't really what I wanted to do. at that point in time, I loved being outside in nature, and I still love being outside in nature. But the Grand Canyon, that's where I wanted to go. And my mom and stepdad were like, yeah, cool, let's do that. I don't think either one of them had ever been. Or no, I think my mom had been, but my stepdad hadn't. I can't remember. Anyway, so me and my mom and stepdad and my two younger siblings on that side, we go to the Grand Canyon. We hit the four corners. We drove the entire way. And seeing Phoenix as we were coming up over this hill and seeing Phoenix at night, that was so cool. I still remember that almost 30 years later. Okay, so cool. But we get to the Grand Canyon. That was really cool too. Did my grandma come with us on that trip? No, grandma didn't come with us on that trip. No. Anyway, this was right after my papa had died, which I think is why my parents or my mom and stepdad asked me where I wanted to go, because I was a papa's girl. Papa was my entire world. Anyway, but on our way back from the Grand Canyon, we stopped at this Bison reserve, which wasn't the same one as the one that we saw on the way to the grocery store. My brother on that side was, see, if I was not, he must have been about 2. It must have been about 2. My brother and sister were there's a huge age gap between us, but anyway, we stopped at this Bison reserve on the way back, and my brother just absolutely loved seeing those bison, and I mean, they were right there. I mean, I've never been to Yellowstone. I would love to go to Yellowstone or wherever it is that, everybody talks about the bison and how close they get. It was like that. They were right up next to the car. Obviously, you're not supposed to get out. You're not supposed to touch them. But anyway, it was so cool seeing them. And my brother was just enamored. And for years after we visited there, he still was talking about it years and years later. I don't know if he remembers it now. Like I said, it's been 25, 30, almost 30 years since then. But it was really cool. It was really cool to see, and I still remember a lot of that trip. That was a summer where it was the best of times and the worst of times kind of scenario, because like I said, my papa died, and but that was a really good trip, and I'm glad they let me pick, because I needed that. And it just kind of hit me just now as I'm recording this that might be why they let me pick, because I don't remember them ever asking again, and I don't know that they ever asked my siblings where they wanted to go. I'm gonna have to call my mom in the morning. Anyway, that's my bison rambling story. So if you stay tuned through the whole thing, thanks. Much appreciated. Bye.